in this session we would talk about monsoons. Now with such a beautiful climate outside, it's the best time to talk about the monsoons in the monsoon season. Now the first and the foremost thing that we would clarify in this class is monsoon is a global phenomena. Now most of the books, most of the literature that you would find will talk about Indian monsoon or monsoon as a phenomena that is specific or unique to India. However, in this class we would understand monsoon is not a phenomena that is merely confined to India, rather it is a global phenomena, and the focus of this class would be the global monsoon systems. So once we start with what is monsoon, we will understand the mechanism of monsoon and the regime of monsoon. So what do we understand by the term monsoon? I can say it's the seasonal reversal of winds. Seasonal reversal of the winds, I can say it is from land to sea and then from sea to land in very simple terms. So if I want to further simplify it, I can say 6 months it's from sea to land and 6 months it's from land to sea. So for a year I can say there is seasonal reversal of wind that takes place. If I talk about much in detail in terms of scientific analysis, I can say monsoon occurs due to seasonal reversal of wind. And why does that seasonal reversal of wind takes place? That is due to asymmetric heating of land and sea. Now what happens during the summer months? During the summer months, the land gets heated at a much higher pace. So what happens is, this is your land parcel and this is the surrounding sea parcel. During the summer, this land gets heated at a very higher pace. What happens as a result of it is a low pressure area is created on the land. To fulfill this low pressure area, winds start to blow from high pressure to low pressure that we have already studied in the wind movements. So you have wind blowing from high pressure to low pressure, and that is how the winds blow from sea to land during the summer months, and this is the cause of monsoon. Now when I say this happens during summer month, I need to further specify during in the regions of north hemisphere. However, what happens in south hemisphere would be during the summer months, that is from September to February, and not during May to September, I can say. So you have the austral summer months. For example, in Australia you have summers during the months when we have winters. So you have summer season in south hemisphere, which would be from September to February, and most of the rainy season would be between December and January in southern hemisphere. Now this is the basic idea when we talk about monsoons. Now further, let's include the concept of Earth's rotation or the tilt of the Earth. So we can say Earth is tilted along its axis of 23.5 degrees. What does that mean? The tilt of this Earth signifies that the incoming radiations would be maximum towards the equatorial region. So you would have maximum incoming radiations or maximum insolation that would be towards the equatorial region. As a result, the equatorial region would absorb maximum heat. This absorption of heat would lead to changes in the temperature and the air conditions and creating a low pressure area in this region. Once you have the low pressure region that is created in this area, you would have the monsoon activity that would be predominant along the equatorial belt. Now this map helps us understand the global monsoon regime. So if I say we have monsoon, which is a global phenomena, all those marked in the dash in blue indicate the regions that are affected by monsoon rainfalls. So we can say the North American monsoon, which is denoted by NAM. Then you have the South American monsoon. You have the South African monsoon. You have the North African monsoon, the Indian monsoon, East Asian monsoon, West North Pacific monsoon, and the Australian monsoon. So these are the basic divisions of monsoon in India. Now when we talked about monsoon, we say monsoon can be either summer monsoon or winter monsoon. Summer monsoon, as we saw, it blows from sea towards the land because there is low pressure area on the land. But what happens during winters is, during the winters you have the monsoon that retreats back. And once the monsoon is retreating back, it's moving back, it moves towards the Bay of Bengal, for example, in Indian region, and then pours down at the coastal area. So you have the retreating rainfall that occurs along the Tamil Nadu coast. So that is an example of winter monsoon rainfall. Now winter monsoon rainfall is not only unique to the Indian region. You have regions of Vietnam, Western Japan, and also regions which are close to the Cambodian border. You would receive winter rainfalls. So these are the regions where you have the winter monsoon that is predominant, and this winter monsoon is attributed mainly due to the retreating monsoon. The monsoon that retreats back leads to the winter monsoon. Now let's understand the monsoon regimes one by one. So first we'll talk about the African monsoon regime. So African monsoon regime, as you can see, is located along the equatorial line. So it's located around the intertropical convergence zone, the ITCZ, and that is due to the seasonal shift of the pressure belts in this region, and leads to the rain bearing winds that flow mainly in the regions of Sudan and Sahel. So that is the main area of Africa where you would have predominant monsoon characteristics. The next region that we would be talking about is Americas. When we talk about North America mainly, you have the monsoon season that is from June to September, and this monsoon season mainly originates from the region of Mexico, then moves forward to southwest United States. So you have regions of Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and then finally coastal regions of California that will receive rainfall due to monsoon characteristics. Now this monsoon characteristics in North America is also known as summer monsoon, Arizona monsoon, Mexican monsoon, or the desert monsoon. So that is about the American monsoon. So we have talked about the African monsoon regime, we have talked about the American monsoon regime. The next important is the Australian monsoon regime. Now in the Australian monsoon regime, as we said, you have rainfall that is occurring because of the austral summer, and that austral summer occurs from the time period of September to February. It's mainly the region, the main reason is you have summers in when we have winters in North Hemisphere, you have summers in South Hemisphere. So because of that you have austral summer that occurs from September to February, and during that time you would have monsoonal activities that would be predominant. So in this region you would have winds that would start blowing from the Vietnam and Malay region. They will move down to the Java, Indonesian island group, Borneo and Philippines, and finally move down to the Australian island, the North Australia and the region of Sulawesi. So these are the regions that would be affected by the Australian monsoon system. Next comes the European monsoon system. In the European monsoon system, it's also known as the westerly winds or the westerly monsoon. It is the winds that blow from the Atlantic region. Now these blow in two shifts. One is during the beginning of the June and one is towards the end of the June or towards the later side of the June, mainly causing rainfall in the regions of Ireland, Britain, and you have the Benelux and the Scandinavian region, which will have rainfall due to the monsoon characteristics. Now finally moving to the main hub of the monsoon, that is Asian monsoon. We also call it, under Asian monsoon we can demarcate it into two. You have the East Asian monsoon and the South Asian monsoon. The East Asian monsoon is the monsoon that is occurring in the region of China, Japan and South Korea. So you have the regions of East Asia that would have monsoonal characteristics. Now these regions, in these regions when you have monsoon, you have rainfall, it's mainly east to west you have the flow of rainfall, except for the regions of East China where you would have rainfall which moves on a east to northeast axis. So except in the regions of North China where you have rainfall from east to northeast axis, most of the regions in East Asia would have rainfall from east to west. Now this monsoonal rainfall is known by various names in East Asia. It is known as Meiyu in regions of China. Okay, it is known as Changma in Korea and Bayo in Japan. Changma in Korea and Bayo in Japan. Now this Changma and Bayo are similar to the frontal rainfalls that occur. They are very similar to the frontal rains that occur, and all three are the local names for the monsoonal winds that occur in the East Asian region. Now moving on to the next, that is the South Asian monsoon. Now South Asian monsoon stream can again be divided into two. You have the southwest monsoon and the northeast monsoon. So when I say you have the map of India here, when we talk about monsoon, we talk about the origin. So the monsoon originating from southwest would be known as southwest monsoon, and the monsoon originating from northeast would be known as the northeast monsoon. Now southeast monsoon is the winds that blow from the Arabian Sea towards the Indian subcontinent, which leads to major rainfall in the Indian subcontinent because they collide with the major mountain range, that is the Himalayan range here. And because of the collision to the Himalayan range, they bring maximum rainfall in the northern parts of India, and that is mainly attributed to the southwest monsoon. Now what happens during the northeast monsoon? Northeast monsoon in India is also known as the retreating monsoon. So as the sun moves south, the northern landmass gets cooled rapidly, and because of that there is a high pressure zone that's created and wind moves back towards the ocean or try to retreat towards the ocean, because of which it is known as retreating monsoon. It mainly causes rainfall on the Tamil Nadu coast, which is also known as winter rainfall. Similar to the Tamil Nadu coast, as we talked about, you have rainfall in the Vietnam and West Japan, which is due to the retreating monsoon or the northeastern monsoon or the winter monsoonic conditions. Now we have already talked about the cause for the monsoon, the global monsoon phenomena. The most important thing that we would talk now is the effect of the monsoon and the variability in the monsoon. Now since monsoon is based on numerous parameters along with the pressure and the temperature changes that we have seen, there are many local factors that affect the monsoon of a particular region. As a result, the predictability of monsoon, the phenomena of monsoon is very difficult. In winters, I can say you have the low pressure that is diverting and bringing in drought. However, in summers, it's the high pressure that is created on the region of sea, and that brings rainfall to the mainland or the continent region, causing rainfall. Now along with this, the major monsoon, you have the atmospheric circulations that we will discuss in another class, that is mainly El Nino and La Nino, which lead to or cause El Nino and La Nina that cause variability in the monsoon patterns. So La Nina is the warming of the Pacific region. El Nino is the warming and La Nina is the cooling. Because of El Nino, there has been drought conditions in 2002 and 2009. However, due to La Nina, in 2010 there was severe flooding that took place in China and Pakistan. So these are again some of the factors that affect the monsoon of a region. We'll be discussing both these concepts and the seesaw mechanism that occurs in Pacific in the next class. Along with that, you have the Indian Ocean dipole that also affects the atmospheric circulation and the oceanic phenomena, mainly in the regions of Indian Ocean. We focus mainly on the subcontinent of India because that is the only subcontinent that is highly dependent on monsoons, I can say, amongst all of the monsoon regions that we have talked about. And finally, all the monsoon have a kind of active break cycle. Active break cycle means you have a cycle that runs for around 20 to 50 days. Active cycle means when you have the active rainfall occurring, and then you have intermittent period, which is the period of break, where you will find no rainfall, and then you would have again a period of sudden rainfall or gush of rainfall. That would be the active cycle. So this cycle is known as the active break cycle that occurs commonly in the monsoon laden regions. So we will be covering the various circulations and the importance of the seesaw pattern that occurs in the Pacific Ocean that governs the atmospheric circulation and affects the monsoon in the further classes. You can subscribe to our channel for any further updates. Have a good day ahead.